Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are thrilled to have you be participating in our Operation Deep Dive with Learning Blake and talking about SeaPerch. My name is Simone Smith. I am the Learning Blade State Manager, and we're here with Kathy Cox Boniel, and I hope I said your name right, but you can
Great.
correct me to go over kind of what's happening with LASTEM and how Learning Blade is here to also engage you with some amazing resources that'll help you with your SeaPerch journey. So, just to introduce myself a little, I've been in education for over 15 years now, worked as a middle school teacher, elementary school teacher at the district level, and at the college level. So I've gotten some wonderful experience here. Um, and now I'm like so fortunate to be here at Dynamic Learning, working with our amazing product Learning Blade and getting to talk to you all about computer science, STEM, our highlight, and career awareness, and introducing you to some of those STEM careers. So, Kathy, I wanted you to be able to introduce yourself as well, talk about what's happening in Lost STEM and with educators in Louisiana, and also what's going on with SeaPerch.
So, hey everybody, Kathy Cox Boniel here. In listening to Simone describe her journey, mine has been very similar. K to gray, I've just done it a lot longer, 45 plus years, probably written all over my face, but I love what I do. And I'm the director of the Region 8 LASTEM Center. It's housed at Louisiana Tech University. And we were excited to do this. Sea Perch has really taken off in Region 8. It has been phenomenal. I was in touch with Robo Nation. We've got almost 100 kits out in the field as we speak, and it's become such a robust part of our programming. But LaSTEM is taking a very intentional pivot starting in January, where we are now, very workforce focused. And so, in looking at our efforts with SeaPerch, I wanted us to connect it to something that was very career oriented, workforce related. And so turn to our friends at Learning Blade because of the great submarine activity that is there. And I think it makes a perfect companion piece to the work going on with Sea Perch. I think it opens windows and doors for our kiddos to think about possible careers. And I think today is going to be a wonderful learning experience for us all. And we're just thrilled that you're here.
Yes, thank you so much. And, we're going to have some great conversations around how our learning Village lessons could really support CPERS programs and how you can, educators are able to extend their learning that way. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it off with what we offer here in Learning Blade and why we were created and founded for your students. So we are, and Kathy, I just want to make sure, is my screen full screen? I want to make sure I'm sharing full screen with you all that you can see it. Love to check in on that. So the reason Learning Blade was created so that students had the opportunity to be exposed to STEM careers. So here at Learning Blade, we give students the opportunity to navigate and be introduced to over 100 careers in STEM. So in that middle school grade level, we have about 94% of students who are making those career related decisions. So we want to make sure that students have the opportunity to engage in learning that is relevant to them and create that relevancy around their learning. So you don't have students asking, why am I creating this? Why am I doing this? Why is this science lesson so important? They're going to get the opportunity to really deep dive and learn why it's so important. Here at Learning Blade, we like to say that you can't be what you can't see. So if students don't have the opportunity to engage in this project-based and explorative learning, then how will they know? So that's what we're here for. At Learning Blade, we have a two-prong approach. We have those engaging lessons for students that really grab their interest. In districts and in schools that I have been in, I hear a lot of educators say, our students are always asking us, why do we Like, why do we have to do this? Like, this is not interesting. I don't want to do these things. So we wanted to make sure that we are able to grab their interest. And then for teachers, we offer those ready-made lesson plans for them that are standards aligned. And 5 through 9, we have 5 through 9 standards aligned lessons in all four core subjects, and that includes technology education. So here are our missions. We have 13 listed here, but the exciting thing I'm going to introduce you to, we do have a new mission. But in our Learning Blade missions, students get to engage in like a storytelling, problem-solving community. So they have a mission and they're introduced to a challenge, and then they get to explore various career clusters. So, Kathy, I just want to ask you a question real quick. When you're in the classroom and you go into the classroom and you're working with educators, how what have you noticed about students getting like that opportunity to do the hands-on work, and then like have they had the opportunity to really engage in that exploration within careers?
Well, there are a couple of ways that we address that. Number one, it takes care of the why am I having to learn this? If it's very application driven, they see how what they're learning applies to their real world. And that's a huge piece. You know, kids today have so much information at their fingertips, but they need to know how to channel that. And so when we give them those real world application pieces, that helps with that. On the other hand, I love that it helps them exercise their creativity and they are able to leverage that with their problem solving and their decision making and coming up with these solutions. Look, we want our kids to do great with their grades, but I want to put somebody out in the world that's going to be well informed and they're able to create a solution and solve a problem because mercy knows we need that in the world. And I love that you're
Exactly.
really highlighting the idea of middle school because that's our sweet spot. They have not yet made up their mind. They're still a little spongy. They're able to, kind of navigate and see what they want to do and then make an informed decision about that path when they get into high school. So for our teachers, it really helps reduce that struggle in the classroom of why are we doing this and what does it matter? Doing these types of things really, really, really help them get on down the road with it. It's invaluable.
Yes, and I loved how you brought up like they're like sponges still. They will gravitate towards things that really interest them. But how will they know what interests them if they don't have that opportunity of exposure? And that is what we're here for. So I want to tell you what is in our Learning Blade toolbox. So in our Learning Blade toolbox, the exciting thing is now that we have close to over 400 online lessons, and like I stated before, they are tied to the academic standards, math, science, social studies, English language arts, and technology education. And then we have those challenge projects. You know, we want students to utilize their hands. We have all different types of learners that we have in our classroom. So we want them to be able to do those independent lessons online and gain all that skill set, then go on and be able to create those models and do those hands-on challenge projects. We also want to include their families. So we have parent discussions, hands-on projects that they can do at home. We have career videos that they are introduced to as well. 3D printing activities. I always talk to educators and they're like, I just got a 3D printer, but I have no idea what to do with this. So in Learning Blade, we have those ready-made lessons for you with guided directions on even on how to get started with using your 3D printers. We also have our design thinking activities that I love because it navigates through that 5-step creative thinking process for your students so that they're really able to um, deep dive into their learning and, be able to express all of, that knowledge that they've gained from really diving deep into the core of what they're learning within our program. And then we also have our paper craft activities. So once your students have the opportunity, let me go back to dive into that career exploration. They're able to build those figures, those origami type figures, along with, learning more about those 100 careers in STEM plus more now. So I did want to also talk about some like how we bring Learning Blade to life. I was able to tell you about what is in Learning Blade, and I'm going to show you a live demonstration here like a little bit later in this webinar. But I did want to tell you how we have brought Learning Blade to life with experiences in the classroom. So throughout our states that we work with and partner with, we have been able to um, do field trips and real world like activities with students. So what I'm showing you here is when Learning Blade students had the opportunity to visit MIT Edgerton Center within like their Sea Grant, along with our maritime partnership with our maritime industrial based partners. They are able to go to this center and create those underwater robots. So that's what we're really talking about here, where students are learning how to build the pieces well, create and put items together, learning about circuits and also learning, about different tools and controls, and really how to um, utilizes technologies like in that maritime industry. So, Kathy, I do have a question for you while we're here. In Louisiana and LASTEM, have you been able to, like students, do they have the opportunity to do these competitions, build these underwater crafts? And like, what does that look like right now for you? And kind of where do you want to go with it?
So the beautiful thing about this is we, in partnership with RoboNation, who's the Department of Defense, provide these kits at no cost. And that's a huge deal when you don't have to worry about kids paying for these or teachers having to come up with a fundraiser. And so we've been able to really put the hardware in the hands of the teachers. Yes, they have used them. We have grown in 3 years. It's staggering to me how many we went. I mean, the first year, I think we had something like, I don't know, 20, 25 or something. Like I said a while ago, we have 100 kits in the field right now and have our first camp in progress for next summer. And this has been such a
Okay.
great integrated STEM experience for teachers to work on. They do it in STEM classes, they do it after school, they do it in science class, they do it in, activity period. What is it's very, very flexible the way in where it can fit. And it's one of those things that is just such a fun activity, but we want them to understand that if this is something they're passionate about, that there are careers that will be connected to something like this down the road. Hence, us talking about the submarines and the fact that we are a
Wow.
Gulf Coast state and the things that go on in the Gulf, there are things that will
Mhm.
apply directly to this. So it's wonderful. I will leave y'all with this one example. In the Peach Festival last year, we had one of our award-winning SeaPerch teams from Downsville Community Charter School come and demonstrate theirs. They had been up to the international competition, did a phenomenal job. People were blown out of the water when they went by, and these kids were teaching them how you do it and letting them try it. And Senator Bill Cassidy stopped by, and he's like, "Where was this kind of stuff when I was in school?" And there you go. We want these kids to have these robust experiences because it can be life changing for them, but it also helps connect them to a really solid future when they get beyond school.
Yes, and I love how you stated like it creates those robust experiences from them for them, so that later in life, they really can understand like that foundation they built when they are engaging into like going into their different careers. Just for our audience, I wanted to pause and say like if you have questions, we are going to be sending out follow-up information for you all, and that's how you'll be able to communicate for us. We don't have a Q&A today, but we will be sending you out our information with and also like this recording, and you'll be able to communicate with us with any questions that you have. So I did want to let you know that you will have the opportunity to ask us any questions that you need once we send you all this follow-up information. So we're going to get right back into it. So, in Learning Blade, like I was telling you, kind of how, we're expanding learning and creating those real world experiences for students. Students who have completed our Beneath the Waves mission and also getting that opportunity to do that career exploration, we like to give them opportunities to go into the real world and take what they have learned and apply it to those situations when they're able to go on these different experiences. So, in April of last year, we got the opportunity to take a group of students to a Naval Orlick Museum, again in partnership with our Maritime Industrial Base and Blue Forge Alliance. We were able to have these students participate in taking a tour of the Naval Orlick warship, in which they completed the Learning Blade mission on Beneath the Waves, and they were getting asked questions and prompted different questions and learning about all of um, the parts of a ship and drones and how all the different efforts to protect our coasts. So the students came in, the our hosts were very impressed with how much students knew about the ships and submarines and all of their knowledge base that they had gained just from navigating through our online mission and doing all of those different activities. So we want to make sure like that every student gets to have this opportunity as well, because not only are they getting the opportunity to learn about all these things, now they're getting the chance to be a part of it. You know how they say, teach me and I'll learn. Involve me, teach me and I'll learn. Kathy, do you know the phrase? For some reason, my mind, and I know it's involve me and I'll know forever, but I'm missing one part of it.
Yeah, it's something like tell me and I'll remember, show me and I'll learn, or it's something to the application phase is a huge thing. And while we're kind of back on me for a second, I just want to point out, y'all, that I'm in Region 8 in Louisiana, which is a very remote agriculture. We're in the Delta, and you can imagine we don't see a lot of ships and submarines and anything maritime up here. But look at how this would connect. This takes them into that world. They may have never seen anything like this, but this opportunity takes them into that world. Again, it opens that window for them and it allows them a chance to feel like they are there. That can be life changing when you've never seen it before. So that's a huge part of this.
Yes, and I'm so happy that you said that, especially with that life-changing piece. If I'm not involved in any of these experiences, then, how will I ever know? And it just always circles back to that. I can't be what I can't see. You can't be what you can't see. So we all need to be able to see and have that exposure into these different opportunities. So before I take us into our live demonstration here, I just wanted to give you all an overview of what our missions look like. So we do have our Beneath the Waves mission, focusing on building submarines. So, students get to, when they go into this mission, get to explore manufacturing techniques, and they get to learn all about like the state of the artwork when building and creating these submarines. So if you when students are navigating in a Learning Blade mission, our mission's about 8 to 10 hours of content, and we have 45 minutes in within those missions of I'm sorry, 45 lessons within those missions. We also offer express missions as well, that are about 2 to 3 hours that teachers can work with. And we also have since Learning Blade, we're a flexible program. Teachers are able to assign their students like even our individual lessons, but we would hope, that you could work through that entire mission so your students can get the most out of all of our missions. But our lessons are about 10 to 15 minutes. So in orange, you see we have those are called our tools. Those are the different technologies that students learn about. And then highlighted in green are the different careers that the students are ever able to navigate to. So, having our lessons being taught in isolation, teachers can really focus on, what they want their students to really gain out of navigating through our missions. But we also, like I said, if you can see on the screen, we have those lessons in all those four core subject areas: math, science, social studies. So, students really get the opportunity while they are navigating through our missions, they're able to apply their knowledge to what they're learning in the classroom. So educators that have utilized Learning Blade, they have their students do our lessons as bell work, enrichment, extended activities. However, Learning Blade fits in your class is what you're able to do with our program. We want to make sure that you're able to use Learning Blade to the best way that it fits in your classroom. So that's why we provided you with so many resources within Learning Blade. So dum dum dum, I wish I had a drum roll here. We do have a new mission that also really help support, within the SeaPerch program, like going back to, why are we here, making those connections. So assemble the fleet is our new mission, and people don't really think about it. They think when a submarine is built, oh, it's just coming, parts are coming maybe from one manufacturing place, one company. But no, we have parts coming that are built and coming over from all over the world, all over the United States. So we want to make sure that students understand, that supply chain and how all of these parts really kind of work together for us to be able, you know, to provide that protection to our coasts all over the United States. So, here, the same. In Assemble the Fleet, students are introduced to various careers. One that stands out, you got your robotics technician, a marine engineer, supply chain coordinators. All these parts come together really so that students are able to learn about how all of these things work, especially within our US Navy. And then we also have the different tools. Students are learning about material testing, route planning, the supply chain, and how all of these things come together. So like I said, so that we're able to provide, we can strengthen our Navy and strengthen, the protection of our coast. So I am excited to be able to take you. I'm going to show you a live demonstration of Beneath the Waves in our new mission. But before that, I just want to let you know about our online modules as well. We do have online modules. We have an introduction to coding course and an introduction to artificial intelligence. So in Learning Blade, we have so many amazing resources that we talked about when we sent this information out for you. So although we were focusing on, our deep diving into our SeaPerch journey, we did want to let you know that we have those additional modules that if you want to learn more information about, you can always reach out to us to learn more about what we offer. So now my favorite part is I'm going to take you all inside of our live demonstration of Learning Blade so that you can see when you go onto your Learning Blade dashboard and your Learning Blade account, how you're really able to support your students with our program. So Kathy, are you able to see my Learning Blade dashboard here? Want to make sure I
Yes,
navigated
I
to the
can
next
see
screen.
it. I can see it.
Woo. Perfect. That means we're on a roll. So the great thing about when an educator gets their Learning Blade account, you now have access to all of these different resources. Educators do have a teacher view and a student view so that they're able to preview the content that students will be learning in Learning Blade and kind of go through those lessons and preview those lessons on their own so they can really get an understanding, when they're facilitating this information to their students. So I'm just going to go into our student view really quickly, and then I'll navigate and kind of tell you more about our teacher view. But I'm just excited to get us here into the mission. So we have our Beneath the Waves Building Submarines mission here, and then we're also going to be talking about Assemble the Fleet, the supply and chain in motion. So let me go ahead and click on to our Beneath the Waves. So when students log into their Learning Blade, this is what they're going to see presented on their screen. So we have Beneath the Waves, they're going to be assigned a task. So that task says to explore modern manufacturing technologies and the people who use them to create advanced submarines. So students have the opportunity to navigate through all these tools and which are technologies, and then all of these teammates, which are the careers that we discussed. We also have our mission guide here, which it showcases what students will be learning in the mission. So, really quickly, I'll kind of just show you what they'll see in the mission guide. And I also do want to make sure that I talk about our features. We do have text to speech so that students can hear our lessons read out to them. And we also have those different visuals, closed captioning, visuals throughout our program so that students, if you're a different type of learner, you get the auditory, the visual learning within Learning Blade. So down here is our beautiful stars. When students answer a question, those questions light up for them. So this is going to give you an introduction of the mission. So beneath the waves, in this mission, you will deep dive into the world of submarines and learning how they are built. So you get that, your students get that introduction, and then they're able to watch a short video and they're going to be introduced to those different technologies and those different careers within this video here. I'm just going to press forward to make sure I have time to show you all of our other features. So they're going to be introduced to all the technologies and click on what they're really interested in learning about. Hit continue here, moving right along. They'll be told all about the technologies and what they are. And then they'll be also introduced to their team. So when they're going through these learnability missions, they're going to need a team to really help them succeed in this mission and be able to complete their tasks. So they're introduced to their team. They can click on, who they're mostly interested in. Oh, I want to learn all about engineers. Submit that answer here. You see my stars lighting up down at the bottom there, and then they get to learn more about their team, naval architectures, engineers, machinists, welders, quality control inspectors, and more. So, and then they'll get an overview of how they're able to complete the mission. So I just want to show you here, like when your students log on, they are navigated through the program. So there's not a lot that educators have to do. Your students are able to get that opportunity to really engage in their learning independently. Kathy, I see you shaking your head. I want to get some input on what your thoughts are since I've been going on
So,
about.
that is a huge point. I have always been convinced that all teachers want to do a great job. They want to knock it out of the park. Unfortunately, most of them don't know where to start with some of this stuff. This takes the guesswork out of it. And so they are facilitating a fantastic learning experience without having to do the legwork. They don't have to be an expert in this area. They just need to be able to point their kids in the right direction. And so all of these resources at your fingertips and resources that are in a format that today's kids need, they want to be learning with. And so I think about myself, I kind of think outside the box, but I'm telling you, I wouldn't have really known where to start with submarines. Like I said, I live in rural Louisiana. What would I know about that? This puts me right there in the world. And so to me, this is putting the tools in the toolkit for the teachers so that they can equip and empower the kids. I mean, it's a win, 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 win.
Yeah, it is a win-win-win. And me myself, Kathy, I come from a military family, but I didn't know all the ins and outs of what they did. Like and now students are able to really immerse themselves into really what is happening, in our different departments. And now they get a better understanding and, have that respect and that value of really what's going on in the world. So that's what we want to create as well. So they do get that overview of how to complete their mission. Always have your students exit out of activities so that it does save their work. And now I just want to take you into one of our tools and our lessons, like within Learning Blades. I'm going to click on robotics and automation here and kind of just go through what we offer within our different lessons on Learning Blade. So we have all of our lessons and activities. You're able to bookmark this if you want to put it on like a website or into, a classroom site that you may have. So we have those direct links. Each subject area you'll see here, students can see their progress, and then they have, those different 3 attempts that they're able to complete those lessons. So what's really neat is we have, those core subjects. So when we're talking about STEM, you want your students to engage in technology, mathematics, science, so everything at all. And we got the history. So in our science lessons, students are really able to engage in learning about robots at work. So robotics at work, they're learning about robots and the differences in robotics and automation. And then we have our math lessons. So, within math and motion, this is really neat because my favorite. Students are learning about angles and geometry. We got to know how these robots move. Um, Geometry wasn't my best subject in class, so if I would have had Learning Blade, then I get to really understand those angles and those geometric features. Um, if I was able to engage in the in Learning Blade, and learn about coordinate planes, X, Y axis, more than in school, like when you have a concept in front of you and you're not able to see what it really means and understand those moving parts, you get frustrated. So that's what we want to provide the students with the opportunity with. So I'm just going to talk about, our English lesson here, Tech Talk. Students get to engage in technical writing. Like they don't know when a robot is being creative or their machines being creative, you have different people that are working on these pieces. You have the operators, you have the developers, the engineers, and they all have a moving part in that technical writing so that um, they all understand what needs to be produced for this machine or robot to work. And then we also have our social studies lesson, and that's called Shaping the Future. So that kind of takes you back, and even, talks about like Henry Ford and the assembling line and, how to put all those moving parts together. And then students are introduced to, what everything looks like now, AI and human intelligence. So, if your students are building these machines and they're working on these different parts, we want to make sure that they have a foundation in every skill set to be able to navigate through all of those moving parts. So, just really quick, Kathy, I want to kind of get your feedback on what you're seeing here and your thoughts on how we present these lessons.
So the first thing that comes to mind is that I love the integration. Science doesn't occur in a silo, technology doesn't occur in a silo. It's all integrated in the real world. And so we have social studies and math and English and all of these things because we want kids to see how they are connected and how one leads to another, and they need this balance across the spectrum. Second thing that comes to mind is I know teachers ask all the time, what do I do with my kids if they've finished what we're supposed to be doing? I mean, this really leads into great differentiation. You finish what you're required to do. Now let's step into what you want to do. And so it gives them that next level up. And so love the integration because I just think that's more real world than these silos that
Yes.
I had to function within when I was coming up. But then also it helps teachers when they're having to deal with how do I differentiate my class? How do I go to the next level? I mean, this is going to encourage kids to want to go to that next level.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. And I like how you talk about, students, they gravitate from what, like, I have to do. But now I want to do these things because I've really got a better understanding of them. So I appreciate you addressing that. So now that we kind of learned about some of our lessons in Beneath the Waves, I do want to go. I want to talk about our new mission, Assemble the Fleet. And one thing that stood out to me in our newest mission was kind of going over. Like one of our careers, robotics technicians. So, when students are learning how to create these robots and they're doing that engineering piece, and they're going to have to learn about those sensors, the circuits, control, how to really get those moving parts in those machines. So, I'm going to go into our science lesson here and just show you kind of how our new mission is designed. So, in sensor circuits and control, you're going to learn about robot eyes, touch, how all sensors work. Um, so, in this lesson, students are really going to learn how, in this career, how robotics program, collaborate, and maintain sensors to ensure that robots perform their jobs perfectly. So, when they're doing these underwater challenges and they're working with all these robots and these different models that they're creating, they have to really understand all about sensors and circuits to create these different um, experiences. So this mission takes them all through learning about vision sensors, force sensors, position sensors, talking about how robotic technicians must set up and maintain all of those different sensors so that the robots can work safely and accurately. So just to stop there, Kathy, when students are building these different machines, what are some things that you notice that they're really paying attention to so that they work appropriately?
Well, there's some trial and error, and they have to learn to troubleshoot. And for them, that's sometimes a really big step. There's this fear of failing, but we call it failing forward. You learn from what you're doing. And I wanted to point this out to Simone because if you look at this menu of options of what all is involved with these, this really lets kids know that if this is the part of it that they love, they can get a great job by going to our community colleges and getting degrees there. And they don't have, I know I'm at a 4-year university, I'm an educator, that's good for me. That's not good for everybody. There are great opportunities out there with a different track. This opens that up for them. I want to weld, that's okay. I can be a part of an
Yeah.
exciting career doing this. What do you do for a living? Well, I'm welding, I'm building ships, I'm building submarines, I'm saving the world, and I think it just really it kind of gives them carte blanche when it comes to figuring out what it is they want to do.
Yes, and I'm so like you've been bringing up amazing points tonight, just on troubleshooting, having these moving parts, what the things that students are really going to have to learn to do in the real world. I did want to point out that I talked about our stars and our questions here, but educators, I'll show you very quickly, they're able to pull out reports on how their students are progressing through our lessons as well. And students are, I'm going to like kind of pass through here, are asked comprehension questions in our lessons so that teachers can kind of gauge their understanding. So they do get like two opportunities to answer these questions. So I'm just gonna kind of just get this wrong really quick. It says which sensors, understanding robotic sensors. They're going through this lesson. Which sensors are essential for hull welding robots to perform its job safely and accurately. So I'm just gonna push this one, that option. And it'll tell me like we get feedback to our students on all their answer choices. We want to make sure they're successful. So we're giving feedback. Go back and kind of read this over and let's see if you can try this response again. So I'm going to try it again. I go back and read it. Now I know how to answer this question accurately, just going back in the information, and then give them feedback on, that correct response as well, and what is needed. Like vision, force, position sensors are the three essential sensor types, so that they really can grasp that understanding and take it into that experience so that you know that they are understanding the knowledge and they're taking away from our lessons instead of feeling defeated. We want students to be able to take away and feel like they've succeeded and that they've gained a better understanding on things that they're working on in the classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this activity. And I really just wanted to show you all what Learning Blade offers for educators and students. They are able to, anything that you're really working on in the classroom, you're able to tie it in, utilize Learning Blade to gain a deeper understanding. And like we talked about earlier, your students are being introduced to so many careers, making it real world and making it relevant. So I'm going to just switch to teacher view and just show you very quickly on what teachers have inside Learning Blade as well. So they have a dashboard where they can able to, preview their students. They have their student information. They have their classes that they're able to create. It's easy to create a class in Learning Blade. You just go to that right hand corner over here, create a class. Teachers type in the class name that they want, the subject. They can add additional information as well. And then I have some classes created here, so I'll show you. I'm going to go into my STEM class, middle school STEM, because that's what we're focusing on. And then they're able, when teachers create a class, all their students need is a class code to get logged into their classroom. So they'll utilize a class code. And then on here, teachers can assign their students a different assignment. So if you want to go and when you leave this webinar today, you're like, I'm going to sign up for my Learning Blade account. I'm going to share that information with you. And then I want to assign my students the Beneath the Waves mission. So I can click on assignments and I can easily add an assignment and then go to Beneath the Waves, building submarines, and I can add that lesson to my dashboard, drag it over here, and then I can quickly assign that mission. So educators do have the opportunity to assign lessons to their students. They have that up to their discretion. Um, we have it to where teachers can look at their class role, and educators also have, we have a mission list. So you have the opportunity to, if you only want your students to see beneath the waves at that time or a symbol of the fleet mission, then you can press edit here. I just want my students to see the assigned missions I assign them, and just so they're kind of working on what you have assigned them and the things that you would like them to see at that point, and then they can navigate through our other missions as well, to create that relevancy and that ultimate experience, so they're not going all over the place. And then you can save that lesson and, then they start beneath the waves. We also have reports. We have curriculum reports, standards performance report. Our curriculum reports are great so that educators can click on and kind of see where their students see their student progress was in Learning Blade. We believe that it's so important, progress monitoring and really knowing how your students are doing and are they getting something out of Learning Blade and what they're learning in Learning Blade. So and I just wanted to really quickly show you all our resources as well. I talked about those hands-on projects earlier. So in our resources tab, we have where students are able to, where teachers can see, those standards alignment. We have our reference pages. We have even more middle school curriculum that you can dive into as well on the page if they're interested, if educators are interested. And then we have those hands-on projects. So I'm just going to go to our building submarines. There's a teacher guide, design thinking activities. We have our 3D printing activities, mission challenges. Um, in our mission challenges, we had students where they're able to build submarines, papercraft figures, and STEM for parents. So just quickly, I'm going to like show you our mission challenges that educators have for those offline projects. So let me click out of here really quickly so I can go to my mission challenges. So these were those ready-made lesson plans that I was telling you all about earlier, where students have, the opportunity to engage in various projects. There have four different challenges. One, experiment with buoyancy. Two, build your own submarine. So not only am I learning, I'm going in like online and I'm learning all of these different skills and all this information. Now I can build my own model and submarine. We have diagramming your careers, and then writing a thank you letter to um, to a service industry, someone who worked in the service. And that is one of our biggest projects. We have so many classroom teachers who have their students that are doing those thank you letters. And you will be able to as well, writing those letters to students. So we have that writing activity, that modeling and hands-on project, science. Um, Exploration, presentations, research, and all of these lesson plans are made out for teachers. So there's nothing that you have to do but to facilitate that instruction. And then we use common materials that educators would already have in their classroom. So there's nothing that you really have to go out and buy. Most of the stuff will be in your classroom or things that you might even have at home. And then we also have those teacher rubrics as well. So that's what is in our teacher dashboard. I'm so happy that I was able to show you those different missions and lessons. I'm going to kind of go back to my presentation here, but I did want to go back to you, Kathy, and just to bring us back to why we're really here today and how Learning Blade is so important when it's time to get your educators to working in the SeaPerch program.
So, one thing I want to say is if you noted as we went through, there's an entire list of careers that can be focused on throughout the year. And so when you look at your year, this is, what I'm doing this 3 weeks. This is what I'm doing this for, whatever. You can look at that and then go look at your list and say, okay, which one of these best matches up with this so that you know where to integrate it. Or maybe you sit down with in your PLC and you say, okay, sixth, seventh, and eighth graders, let's think about it. Where are we going to do this when to make sure that the kids get to make it through the entire continuum of activities so that they have all of this information at their fingertips while they are having to make decisions about the classes that they're going to take in high school and where their journey may go when they're on the post-secondary pathway. This is a great opportunity for them to dip their toe in the water. Now, I know we're talking submarines. I didn't mean that to be, totally on submarine deal, but that's important. Taste it. We want them to, when we have our kids come in and do things, we're like, this may not be your thing, but the next thing might. And of course, we wanted to
Yes.
connect our sea perch now with the submarines, the maritime activities, because that's a great career connection. But then there are other things that we do throughout the year that are going to have other applications. And so we want to go through and see what connects with what. And so that's kind of what our goal is here. Like I said, Sea Perch is a fun activity. Kids love building the ROVs, they love doing the competition.
Yes, the rovers.
But then where do we connect that to the real world for them? We don't want them to put down their ROV and say, okay, done, check out, go to something else. We want it to connect to, oh, wow, I did that. That means I can do this one day if I want to. And so that's the value of this, giving them those opportunities where they get to experience it and say, oh, wow, I did this. I can do that one day. And that's what we're here about, getting them ready for what they're going to do one day.
Yes, perfect. That is a great way to say it. And that's, what we're here for, because we want to make sure that students can really take this experience even further and really understand why these things are created and, the value of what they're doing and the why behind everything they're doing. I'll say our motto again here at Learning Blade is you can't be what you can't see. So I'm just tying all of these things together. It all comes full circle. So you're educators, you're able to give your students this opportunity, and we want to make sure that it is spread throughout and everybody knows, throughout the state of Louisiana that even though, especially what areas you're in, like Kathy, you said you're in a rural area, so, you're not exposed to all of these different things. So we want to make sure that there is that exposure, and that's what Learning Blade is here for. So we do have opportunity if you do not have your Learning Blade account. We have it on screen. You can sign up at www.learningblade.com/LA. And then there's a QR code there as well that you can use on the screen. So please sign up for your account. It is a fully funded account to you. Kathy, go ahead and
So,
say
so
your
I was just
thoughts.
going to say, having, been a, career educator, there are probably people out here that, they're like, oh my gosh, so much information, so much information, so much information. But y'all are there to hold their hand as they get started with this. And so it's not like get out of the webinar thrown into the deep end. Simone, y'all are there to help people get into this and be successful,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, that is correct. And thank you for bringing up that point. So this is not like Kathy said, you're on your own here. We offer the opportunities to do professional development, and we're going to be sending you that information so that we can do one-on-one sessions so that you can learn more on how to integrate this into your classroom and offer that support and facilitation on how to even get started with Learning Blade. So no, you are not alone. I'm going to put my information again on the screen here. You can contact me at any time. Like I said, we offer those one-on-one sessions. Kathy is also here to, support us, and we're partnering together to really help you create that exposure for your students. So we just want to thank you all, and everyone's staying on. We're strong here, to go through this webinar with us. So we're also happy that you joined us here today, taking the time out to create these experiences for your students. So just want to say thank you again. My information is on the screen. Write it down, send me an email. Let's get started today. And I'm here to support you with that. Any final thoughts, Kathy?
Yeah, and just like Simone said, I mean, your regional LASTEM centers are here to help you as well. I don't know, I haven't seen the registration list, so I don't really know where everyone's from, hopefully from all over the state. And so everybody has a regional LASTEM center where you are. There are 9 of us in the state. There is a director at each, a staff that is there to help you. There are ways to contact them. If you're unsure, you can go to the LASTEM. There I am. I knew I was in there somewhere. But if you have this and you're like, well, Kathy, I'm here. Who do I contact? Let me know and I'll put you in touch with them because our job is to help you navigate these waters as well. If you're sitting here listening to it and you're like, I've never heard of SeaPerch, shoot me an email. I'd love to tell you about it and connect you with the people that can help you get started. But that's what we're here for. Listen, none of us is on an island. We're all in this thing together. As Simone said, the collaborative piece is huge. And so the only way that we're going to be able to succeed is working together. And so get in touch with Learning Blade, get your, treasure chest of goodies and resources to get going, and let's get these kids on a path to an exciting STEM career.
Yes, let's go. All right, everyone. Again, thank you so much. We're almost at the top of the hour, so we appreciate you. And well, like I said, you'll have time that we're going to answer all of your questions and supporting you with getting started with Learning Blade. So again, I hope you have a wonderful evening, and thank you all for joining us. Have a good day. Bye bye.